all I can say is wow right now. This convention has just been amazing so far. I hope you all agree with that. Yesterday morning, if you were at the Capitol Club breakfast, we had the Senate President, Jeff Atwater, who's running for CFO, and I believe will be the next CFO. And then we had Adam Putnam, who's a congressman who will be the next Agriculture Commissioner. And then to have all of those candidates last night and the media coverage we got has just been really incredible. So we're excited about that. But
would you explain, and I don't know where you're starting, but would you explain to them also about how the Florida governor doesn't rule what the part that...
wasn't that interesting?
Yes.
Adam Putnam? What Marianne's talking about, Adam Putnam was talking to us yesterday morning at the Capitol Club breakfast, and he is so dynamic, like Marco Rubio dynamic, and he was just going on about some great things, one of which is something we never think about, and that is that back 100 plus years ago, when the Florida Constitution came into existence, there was very much a mistrust of government, sort of like what we have today. And that it was determined that the Florida governor wouldn't have a huge amount of power, that it would be split among several people. And that's how we came to have the cabinet like we have today. So almost all of the major decisions in Florida aren't made by the governor, they're made by the 4 members of the cabinet. And a lot of times if you're a real estate agent, for example, you may think, why should I really care who the Agriculture Commissioner is? Well, the Agriculture Commissioner is one of 4 cabinet members. So we have an Agriculture Commissioner, we have a CFO, we have an Attorney General, and we have a Governor. And those 4 sit as the group that makes all of these big decisions. You know, they invest the state's money, they really handle so many things. And it is fascinating because we don't think about that. Everyone thinks of the governor sort of like the president and sort of, the executive branch that has all the power, and it's not that case.
Was the lieutenant governor not one of those 4 because he's not elected?
The lieutenant governor is not a member of the cabinet.
Because the governor just appoints
Yeah, the
him.
governor picks him or her as a running
So
mate.
it's agriculture?
Agriculture Commissioner, CFO, Attorney General, and Governor. Those are the 4 members of the cabinet, and they make these decisions.
Hey John, just if you have these stats, and you may not, but when you think of the 4 members of the cabinet in agriculture, and you kind of go to agriculture, do you have any of the stats on Florida as an agricultural state?
Well, it's interesting. He is the commissioner of agriculture, but it's agriculture and consumer affairs. And it turns out FDLE, all of these things, come under his purview, and it's really quite a large department. In fact, we were having such problems with DVPR right when I got here 5 or 6 years ago. Things were horrible. We said, hey, if it's the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, what could be better for consumers than making sure that our real estate industry is working right? We began talks about moving ourselves over there, but they do all the background checks for FDLE and all kinds of other things. They have the 800 number that is the consumer hotline in the state of Florida. If you have any issues as a consumer with anything, that all goes through the Department of Agriculture, because Florida is an agricultural state like so many others, and there's so much history with being an agricultural state. It's sort of hard to get away from that. It probably should be called the Commissioner of Consumer Affairs and Agriculture, and switch those words around. I don't have the statistics about. The 4 members of the cabinet have to work as a team if we're going to get anything done. And Barry and I were talking a little while ago, and we realized none of us gets anything done by themselves. I've gotten a lot of accolades this week that I don't necessarily deserve, but everything happens when a team comes together and has a common goal. And I think the oil spill is a very good example of that. If it had just been the Emerald Coast Association of Realtors alone, you would have gotten pretty far because you were already working towards that. But it took bringing in other states and other boards, and then finally the National Association, and working together as a group and a team to get to where we are today, and that's very important. And we can apply that exact same principle to everything we do. you're future leaders of this association, both your local association and the state association, and who knows, one of you may be the national association president someday. We all dream of these things, and you're not going to get there by being a me person. You're going to get there because you surround yourselves with other really strong people to get positive results.